Some mornings, nothing feels obviously wrong. You wake up. You swing your legs over the side of the bed. Your knees hesitate for a moment. Your back feels tighter than it did a few years ago. You tell yourself it is simply part of getting older. But what if that quiet feeling is not the real problem at all? The truth is, many people over 60 slowly lose strength long before they notice it. Not because of one dramatic illness. Not because they stopped caring for themselves. Often, it begins with one ordinary morning habit that seems completely harmless. A habit repeated thousands of times until the body quietly adapts in ways that steal energy, balance, and confidence without asking permission. And once that process begins, would you even recognize the signs? Perhaps you have noticed that climbing the apartment stairs feels a little harder. Carrying shopping bags requires an extra pause. Even getting comfortable after an evening cup of tea takes longer than it used to. These changes rarely arrive overnight. They whisper instead of shout. That is exactly why so many intelligent people miss them. But why does something so familiar have such a powerful effect? Modern research continues to show that daily routines can influence how we maintain muscle, mobility, and overall vitality as we age. Small choices, repeated every morning, can support healthy aging, or slowly work against it. The surprising part is that the habit we are talking about is followed by millions of people who genuinely believe they are doing the right thing. Could you be one of them without ever realizing it? Before you dismiss this as another health scare, stay with me for a few more minutes. This is not about miracle cures or replacing the advice of your doctor. It is about understanding one overlooked piece of the puzzle that many conversations never reach. And by the end of this video, you will discover a simple morning adjustment that may help support your strength, confidence, and independence for years to come. The final detail is often the one people wish they had learned much earlier. For many people, the morning begins almost automatically. The alarm sounds, the feet touch the floor, the kettle goes on, the curtains are opened. Everything feels familiar, comfortable, predictable. That is exactly why certain habits escape our attention. The body does not suddenly become weaker after 60. In most cases, strength changes gradually. Tiny decisions, repeated every day, shape how muscles, joints, and balance respond over time. The difficult part is that the body often compensates remarkably well, until one day it cannot. Have you ever stood up and needed a few extra seconds before taking your first steps? Not because of pain, but because your legs simply felt uncertain. That hesitation may seem insignificant, yet it can be your body's quiet request for a different morning routine. One of the most common habits is rushing into the day the moment we wake up. Many people get out of bed quickly. They immediately begin walking, bending, lifting, or climbing stairs before their muscles and joints have fully adjusted after several hours of rest. During sleep, the body enters a different physiological state. Joints have been relatively inactive. Blood circulation changes. Connective tissues are less prepared for sudden movement. This is a completely normal part of aging, and it does not mean something is wrong. That is why many healthcare professionals encourage gentle movement before demanding activity, especially for older adults. A few slow stretches in bed, rolling the ankles, flexing the feet, taking several deep, relaxed breaths before standing. These simple actions help prepare the body for the day instead of asking it to perform instantly. Think about the difference between starting a car on a freezing winter morning and driving away at full speed within seconds. Most people would never do that. They understand that mechanical systems perform better when given a moment to warm up. Our bodies deserve the same patience. This does not mean you should fear movement. Quite the opposite. Regular movement remains one of the strongest lifestyle habits associated with maintaining mobility and independence as we grow older. The goal is not to move less. The goal is to move more wisely. Interestingly, this is only the first piece of the picture, because even people who take their time getting out of bed often make another quiet mistake just a few minutes later, one that can influence their energy levels for the rest of the day. And it usually happens before breakfast is even finished. Many people believe that the first goal of the morning is simply to wake up, a strong cup of tea, a quick coffee, a glance out of the window, then straight into the day's routine. It feels natural. But the body has priorities of its own. After a night's sleep, you have gone several hours without drinking. Even if you do not feel thirsty, your body has been using water all night to support breathing, circulation, and countless other normal processes. By morning, even mild dehydration can leave you feeling less energetic, less steady, and less mentally sharp. The surprising part is that thirst becomes less reliable with age. Many adults over 60 simply do not feel thirsty as quickly as they once did. That does not mean the body needs less fluid. It simply means the signal is quieter. Have you ever noticed feeling unusually tired before lunchtime, despite sleeping reasonably well? Or found yourself blaming your age when your concentration seems to drift? Sometimes several different factors are involved. But starting the day without enough fluids may be one piece of that puzzle. Healthcare professionals often encourage older adults to pay attention to hydration as part of healthy aging. It is not a miracle solution. It will not erase every ache or every tired morning. Yet supporting normal hydration helps the body perform many of its everyday functions more effectively. There is another detail many people overlook. Coffee and tea certainly have a place in many morning routines. For countless people, they are comforting traditions. They bring warmth on cold winter mornings and accompany quiet conversations around the kitchen table. But relying on them before drinking any water may not be the best way to begin the day for everyone. Sometimes, something as simple as a glass of water after waking can become a gentle signal to the body that the day has begun. It is a small habit, easy to overlook. Yet small habits repeated every morning often matter more than dramatic changes made once a year. The same principle applies to breakfast. Many people either skip it completely or choose foods that provide a quick burst of energy followed by an equally quick decline. Sweet pastries, sugary cereals, or heavily processed foods may feel satisfying for a short while, but they do not always provide the steady nourishment the body appreciates later in life. A balanced breakfast containing protein, fibre, and healthy fats may help support stable energy throughout the morning. Eggs, natural yogurt, porridge with nuts, or whole grain toast with cottage cheese are simple examples that many people enjoy. The exact choice will always depend on individual preferences, health conditions, and any advice from a healthcare professional. The important point is not perfection. It is consistency. Small, supportive choices repeated day after day often have a greater influence than occasional bursts of motivation. Yet there is another quiet morning habit that may have an even greater impact on preserving strength after 60. It is so common that millions of people do it without giving it a second thought. And once you notice it, you may never begin your mornings the same way again. There is a quiet moment in many homes each morning. Breakfast is finished. The tea is poured. The newspaper is opened, or the television comes on. A few peaceful minutes become half an hour, then an hour. It feels restful. Sometimes, it is exactly what we need. But after 60, the body often responds differently to long periods of sitting than it did years ago. Muscles thrive on regular use. Joints appreciate gentle movement. Balance depends on small muscles that quietly work throughout the day, even when we hardly notice them. When we remain still for too long, those systems become less active. That does not mean damage occurs immediately. It simply means the body becomes less prepared for movement when we finally stand up. Have you ever noticed that the first few steps after sitting for a long time feel awkward? Your knees seem reluctant. Your hips feel stiff. Your balance takes a few moments to return. That experience is incredibly common. It is not a personal failure. It is simply how the body responds to inactivity. Many physiotherapists encourage older adults to interrupt long periods of sitting with gentle movement whenever practical. Standing up every so often, walking around the room, looking out of the window while stretching the shoulders, climbing a few apartment stairs if it feels safe and comfortable. These are not strenuous exercises. They are small reminders to the body that movement is still part of everyday life. The remarkable thing is that the body often responds well to consistency rather than intensity. A 5-minute walk several times a day may be easier to maintain than one long session once a week. The goal is not athletic performance. The goal is preserving confidence. Confidence to walk to the local shop. Confidence to carry groceries. Confidence to visit friends without worrying about every staircase or uneven pavement. Because independence is built on hundreds of ordinary movements that most people never think about until they become difficult. There is another reason this matters. Physical movement supports more than muscles. It also plays a role in circulation, joint comfort, mood, and cognitive health as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. No single habit can guarantee perfect health, but many small habits work together over time. That is why the strongest morning routines are rarely dramatic. They are calm, repeatable, sustainable. And yet, there is one final morning habit that many people overlook completely. It takes less than 2 minutes. It costs nothing. But it may be the most important step of all because it changes not just how your morning begins, but how the rest of your day unfolds. Before the phone rings, before the television comes on, before the list of chores begins, give yourself 2 quiet minutes, not to do nothing, but to notice how your body feels today. Is your breathing calm? Do your shoulders feel tense? Are your feet planted firmly on the floor? Can you stand comfortably without rushing? These simple questions are not about searching for problems. They are about paying attention. As we grow older, the body often sends gentle signals long before it sends loud ones. A little stiffness, slight fatigue, a feeling that balance is not quite what it was yesterday. These changes do not always mean something serious, but they deserve our awareness. Many people spend years listening to clocks, schedules, and other people's needs. Very few spend 2 quiet minutes listening to themselves. That brief pause can help you make better decisions throughout the day. Perhaps today is the right day for a longer walk. Perhaps your body would appreciate a slower pace. Perhaps you remember to take the mobility exercises your physiotherapist recommended. Or perhaps you simply recognize that you need a little more rest. There is wisdom in that. Looking after your health is not about proving how much you can do. It is about understanding what your body is asking for today. This approach also makes healthy habits much easier to maintain. When people try to transform everything overnight, the changes rarely last. A strict routine, an ambitious exercise program, a complete change in diet. For a week or two, motivation carries them forward. Then life becomes busy. Old habits quietly return. Real progress usually looks different. 1 extra glass of water, a few gentle stretches, standing up more often, a balanced breakfast, 2 peaceful minutes of paying attention. None of these habits seem remarkable on their own. Together, they create a morning routine that supports strength, mobility, and confidence over time. The most encouraging part is that it is never too late to begin. Healthy aging is not about becoming 20 again. It is about giving your body the best support possible at every stage of life. Every thoughtful choice is an investment in tomorrow's independence. And that brings us to one final idea. It is perhaps the simplest of all. Yet it may be the reason some people remain active well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond, while others gradually surrender abilities they might have protected. If there is one message to take away today, let it be this. Strength rarely disappears all at once. More often, it fades quietly. 1 rushed morning, 1 missed walk, 1 extra hour sitting, 1 small choice repeated again and again. The encouraging news is that the opposite is also true. Strength is often rebuilt the same way. 1 gentle stretch, 1 balanced breakfast, 1 glass of water, 1 decision to move a little more instead of a little less. These actions may seem almost too simple. Yet they are the foundation of many healthy aging strategies recommended by healthcare professionals around the world. They are not miracle cures. They do not replace medical advice or treatment. But they can become valuable parts of a lifestyle that supports mobility, balance, and overall well-being. Take a moment tomorrow morning. Do not rush to beat the clock. Sit on the edge of the bed for a few seconds. Move your ankles. Take a slow, comfortable breath. Stand up with intention rather than speed. Drink a glass of water. Enjoy a nourishing breakfast if it fits your needs. Then begin your day knowing you have already done something meaningful for your future self. Because independence is not protected by one extraordinary decision. It is protected by hundreds of ordinary ones. Perhaps that is why some people continue gardening, climbing apartment stairs, traveling, and playing with their grandchildren well into later life. Not because they discovered a hidden secret, but because they respected the quiet habits that others overlooked. Your body has carried you through every season of your life. It deserves patience. It deserves kindness. And above all, it deserves your attention. If this conversation reminded you of someone you care about, consider sharing it with them. A simple morning habit may seem insignificant today, but the choices we repeat are often the ones that shape tomorrow. And if you have your own morning routine that helps you feel stronger or more energetic, share it in the comments. Your experience could encourage someone else to take that very first step toward a healthier, more confident morning.